Hey, it's Wubs here with day 5 of the Hearthstone card reveal season for Voyage to the Sunken City. Apologies for the late video. I had to go to the hospital to deal with a kidney stone or figure out if I had a kidney stone or not, and sadly I do. So this video and some of the next few videos might be a little bit off when it comes to me personality-wise, because I may or may not be heavily medicated depending on which part of the day that I actually record these videos in. So with that warning out of the way, the first card revealed today is Aquatic Form, which is a 0-cost Druid spell that has Dredge. If you have the mana to play the card this turn, draw it. So this really does nothing if you don't have the mana to play it. With that condition, this actually makes this card a little bit worse than some of the other stereotypical 0-cost spells we've seen in the past. However, with the next card actually revealed, this card might actually be broken, especially because it's easy to combo those cards together, while also using other cards such as Celestial Guidance to get additional copies of this, or some of the other cards. I think this is probably a card with a lot of potential going forward, but it really depends if we see any more cards that put cards at the bottom of the deck besides the next one, which is Shaman Gardens, which is a 1-cost Druid spell that gives all minions in your hand +1/+1 and puts a Sunken Gardens on the bottom of your deck. So this is a really easy card to combo out with the previous card, as this allows you to actually buff up your entire hand, and then the Sunken Gardens actually buffs up your hand, field, and deck, which is actually really insane. It's kind of weird that they're printing a card like this when they know that Prince Keltis was actually a really good card when he was actually in rotation, and this is not a hard card to abuse in any form of fashion. This is definitely not something that I really want to go against when I'm facing a Druid deck, as this could make Pirate Druid maybe an even better deck than it already is if you wanted to go down a way of buffing up Mr. Smite as much as humanly possible. The next card revealed is Mage's second legendary, which is Commander Sivara, which is a 4-cost minion with 3 attack, 5 HP. She is a Naga, and then has the battle cry. If you've cast 3 spells while holding this, add those spells back to your hand. So this is the first boss in Eternal Palace, and it's actually pretty cool to see more of the Eternal Palace bosses be made into cards. But besides that, I think this card is actually pretty good overall. Honestly, this being a 4-cost minion could make this see a lot of play, just because of the fact that you could combo this out with some wildfires as ways to buff up your hero power as much as humanly possible, which is the first home that I thought of when seeing this card, though there are some other ways you could abuse this, such as with the Drakefire Amulet or some of the other big spells that are actually really impactful, such as Rune of the Archmage. Honestly, can't see a world where this doesn't see some play in some type of mage deck, and it's a really cool card overall. The next card that got revealed is Handmaiden, which is a 3-cost Priestess minion with 3 attack, 2 HP. It is also a Naga with the battle cry. If you've cast 3 spells while holding this card, draw 3 cards. I think this condition for this card is a little bit too hard to actually pull off, though drawing 3 is pretty nice overall for any class. It doesn't really matter what class it would be put in. But because it is cast 3 spells while holding this card, and most of the mana cheat that Priest actually has is actually rotating out, I don't think this will probably see any play. There are just better options within Priest to actually something like this, especially when a lot of the Priest cards rely on you to have a low amount of minions in the deck in order to gain some benefit. And now for probably the most broken card out of all the cards revealed today, Priestess Valishj, which is our first 0-cost legendary minion with a battle cry. It has 1 attack, 1 HP. She is a Naga. With the battle cry, refresh a empty mana crystal for each spell you've cast this turn. This card is so easily abusable in Priest, it isn't even funny. I'm glad that it isn't a neutral card, so it isn't discoverable by other classes. But in Priest, if you have any ways to actually, let's say a new card such as Switcheroo, where you can actually swap the stats of 2 minions, where you could swap the stats of this and some big minion in order to play this without big stat line on like turn 3. That seems like a really impactful turn that I am really scared to actually see this come into fruition. It reminds me of the old Barnes decks with Ishari and Hunter, where you would only run those 2 cards, and then have a bunch of cards that require you to only have spells. It's a very similar idea of a deck overall, and if you swapped the cost and everything with Kazakhstan, for example, you should be able to actually get Kazakhstan online on like turn 3, which is quite insane. The next card revealed is the Rogue Colossus minion, Crabatoa, who is a 6-cost rogue minion with 6 attack, 5 HP. He is a beast with a Colossus of 2, and your Crabatoa claws have +2 attack, and his claws are 2-cost minions with rush, and the death rattle equipped a 2/1 claw, and the claw is just a normal vanilla weapon, which is actually pretty impactful anyways if we do see some more weapon support. And we did see the other rogue card that got revealed yesterday, where this could actually be a really cool idea of a deck moving forward. It's really cool to see like a giant crab lending his claws to rogue as a overall class. It's a really funny idea, and I like this card a lot. I like this a lot better than the Priest Colossus mini, even though this is kind of almost as boring as it. But there are ways to actually abuse this card, I think, compared to something like that. The next card revealed is Schooling, which is a 1-cost Shaman spell that adds 3 1/1 Piranha Swarmers to your hand. So this actually demonstrates that Shaman is probably going to be the class that actually uses Piranha Swarmers the most, and that probably will be the central idea for Shaman as a class in this expansion. Though at the same time, it really makes me wonder what the Colossus minion for Shaman is going to be, if it's going to be a giant piranha, or let's say a giant jellyfish or something else. You never know. I think this card has a lot of potential for the future, and I think the idea of having a fish Shaman deck is really funny, so I think this card will actually see some play as some type of aggro-based deck. The next card revealed is Bioluminescence, which is a 3-cost Shaman spell that has the nature tag and gives your minions spell damage +1. So this is what I meant by a giant jellyfish. Most jellyfishes in Warcraft are actually bioluminescent, so I'd assume that Organzoa might be the actual Colossus minion for Shaman, but you never know. I think this card is actually very deadly if you allow your opponent to actually keep any type of minions on the board. And I am very scared of a card like this, especially with how good Burn Shaman already is. And we are also getting the Molten Geyser card as another burn damage card that Shaman can easily abuse. I think this card will see a lot of play. The next card revealed is Coral Keeper, which is a 5-cost Shaman minion with 3 attack, 4 HP. With the battle cry, summon a 3/3 elemental for each spell school you've cast this game. This is an interesting card because it's very similar to Multicaster, except this generates a bunch of minions. I don't think this is probably going to see much play. It has the potential to, because Shaman has access to, I think, 4 schools of magic pretty easily. And there are quite a few easy ways to actually search something like this out. But I think if you are trying to go down a Shaman deck with a bunch of different spell schools, it would just be better to include more burn damage overall, though this could be a really fun card to actually play around with, and it does have a lot of potential, especially because if you can get 4 school of magic really easily done with this card, then you're going to get 15, 16 worth of stats on the board on one turn, on turn 5, which could just overwhelm your opponent. The next card revealed is Warrior's new spell, which is Fires of Zin Azuri, which is a 2-cost warrior spell that replaces your deck with minions that cost 5 or more. They cost 5. It is a fire school. It's interesting to see that warrior is keep getting random school of magics introduced to the class, which is something that it didn't actually have. This actually makes Multicaster probably a much better card overall for warrior. The issue with this is it replaces your entire deck, so I can't see a world where this actually sees some play, just because you don't want just a bunch of high-cost minions in your deck with no individual synergy. It's very similar to, I think the card was called Renounce Darkness or something from Warlock way back in the day. It serves a similar purpose, but outside of meme status, I don't see this one actually seeing play. So that was the last card revealed today. Let me know which cards that you're actually looking forward to actually using in the future and what deck ideas that you might have with some of these cards. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye bye.